privilege in this country, regardless of our challenges. And God knows we all have our own personal challenges. We all have our own difficulties, our own issues, whether it's financial, whether it's family, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental. We have all got our own problems, but in the grand scheme of things, we know that the people of Palestine, the people of Lebanon, and people around the world are in a far worse situation than we are. So for those of you that have taken up this cause and that have led from the front, whether you've organized, whether you've mobilized, whether you've raised funds, whether you've advocated, whether you've protested, I thank you on behalf of all of the people that have organized today. And for those people that we won't get the benefit or the privilege to meet in Palestine, for those of us that won't have the chance to look these people, these doctors and nurses and these students on the front lines, the ones we won't have the honor to look into their eyes and to thank them for their service, we pray that Allah allows us to continue to support them in whatever means we can, whether it's supporting the education for medical students in Gaza, whether it's supporting the healthcare workers' efforts, whether it's supporting the humanitarian organizations that are trying to deliver aid. If today has done nothing else, I hope that it's been enough for those of you that are active, to continue your activism. For those of you that are fundraising, to continue your efforts. For those of you that have been able to donate, to continue giving, because that is also a lifeline. There will come a time when all of this will be in the books of history, and we will all be looking at this as to what we did during this crisis. Whether it's our children or our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren, they will talk about the year 2023, 2024. They will talk about this genocide, and they will say that my parents, my grandparents, my forefathers and mothers were there when this happened. And while the world turned the blind eye to what was happening, the people in Hull did not. The people in Hull gathered, they mobilized, they raised funds, they continued to pressure, they continued to protest, and they were few in numbers. They were not in the hundreds of thousands. They were few in numbers, but they stood on the right side of history. And that's the absolute least we can do. So on behalf of everyone that has worked throughout the year, on behalf of those that have lost their lives on the front lines, the hundreds of health workers that have been killed, the thousands of aid workers that have been killed, the hundreds of journalists that have been targeted and killed, it is for their legacy that we continue our efforts. And we continue, yes, immediately, the immediate need right now is a ceasefire. The immediate need right now is an end to arms sales to Israel. And of course, the long-term aim is for liberation for the people of Palestine. It is to continue the fight. It is continue to stand on the right side of justice. And just as apartheid ended in South Africa, inshallah, Palestine will be free. But it will only be free if we stand firm, if we don't back down, if we don't allow these governments and these politicians to continue to side with these genociders and their enablers. And we cannot back down. This cannot be a one-off event where you come, you listen, you're inspired, you're emotional, you cry, you shed tears, and you give some money and you go home and you carry on with your lives. The reason we got together today was